Hello, my name is Alun. My pronouns are he, him, and today I'm facilitating the finale of Against the Sith Conspiracy, our four-session series of a hack of Against the Dark Conspiracy to celebrate the May the 4th Be With You mini-con organized by the Open Hearth gaming community. If you don't know about Open Hearth, please search Open Hearth gaming community and find out more about us and come play with us because we'd love to have you join us. You want to know any more about this series, go back to the start, session 1. This is session 4. But I am going to ask the players just to give me some little snippet of action from last time that highlights their character, or maybe something about their character that we can build on that. And then our fourth player, who couldn't be here last time, we'll run through a little love letter for them in terms of how we reintegrate them back into the plot. So I think I'm going to start, Joe, with you. Do you want to pick out something involving Halo?
Sure. From last week, I think the most notable thing would be is that she stubbornly clung to the disguise in the face of literally everything, no matter for better or for worse. And perhaps the moment that on the Grav Hammer when she had was on the bridge with the commander of the Grav Hammer being sort of congratulated for her tenacity and everything. She ended up dropping a stun grenade in there to facilitate us knocking everybody out to help facilitate the capture of the ship. So
certainly previously on Against the Sith Conspiracy, all those things. Yes, I love the fact that we ended up on the bridge of the ship that you subsequently hijacked. Being congratulated for your, tenacious capture of a Wookiee and a disguised infiltrator. Will, do you want to pick out something about Vann from last week?
I think I'd like to cut to the bit of Vann in like a speeder truck run by the Patega clan covered in neon while they argue with Jawas about slicing into the Empire's like data hubs, basically.
Exactly. Which we later discover cut to you entering the starport where you were hoping to hijack, and to find that the slicing had not gone entirely to plan.
I think the cut is and so you're sure, right? Like tapping and big thumbs up from the Jawas, right? And then like cut over to the Imperial officer's view screen, and then just like red flashes all over the screen as Vanny looks at them.
Like that. And finally, Jason, what about our Wookiee, Kitporin?
Let's see. I'm Jason. Use he, him, playing Kit, who uses he, him. And I think we see Kit, the Wookiee, climbing up this platform, towering above the trees, getting captured by the criminals, and then being inside the Imperial ship. And I think Vann said they thought we were secured, but Vann had like used Jedi mind tricks to fool them into we actually were not secured. So he breaks loose and bashes his way through the ship and ends with a scene of him shooting the big blasters at the rear of the ship at all the drones that were sent against us.
Which you'd set up to be sent against you, to make any approach to the Iron Fist, the Victory class Star Destroyer in orbit, look convincing, and it looked very convincing to the point where we have that little exchange between the bridge and the Star Destroyer. We're coming in hot, and at that point the TIE fighters drive off the remaining drones, and I think we agreed that you were going to land in one of the secondary hangars, not the TIE fighter hangar. So that's where we left it. Now, Blake, how do you want to be reintegrated into this story? I don't want to force you to be in a cargo container because it strikes me that that's me defining how you want to be reintegrated.
No, that's all right.
Well, then, where is this cargo container? And how did you get into it to get aboard the Iron Fist?
So I've got comms and surveillance. So I'm thinking I'll watch this sort of montage of me watching a bunch of surveillance of people loading stuff and that going up to the big Star Destroyer. And then there's a scene of, some people pushing this container towards the transport ship, and then they just sort of stop and do up their shoelaces, and I calmly get it. I come from another 90 degrees because I've got concealment, the Jedi power, and I just calmly get inside the box, and they just looked away at the right moment.
I like that.
Just climbed in, and just simple.
I'm going to. You don't have to take me up on it, but I'm going to offer you a chance to roll the dice on the off chance you get a 6 and maybe gain a bit of intel.
Why not? Come on, we'll go with the green one. 2.
2. Well, then, no.
Maybe it's a crate with like thermal detonators, so I'm being real careful not to move a lot. Fine.
Oh, wow. Google, I see in the chat, Google tells me the Superstar Destroyer has 280,000 crew, 60,000 troops, and 120 TIE fighters. It is a city in space. That's the way it looks in all the pictures I've seen. So you are in one of those secondary hangars. But before we get to that hangar, we did the debrief last time. So I do want to give you a chance for a bit of downtime and then to pull together a plan in the available time. Does anyone want to seek relief from the horror at this point? You've got the crew of the Gravhammer and you've got one another. Was that a hand up from Jason for Kit? Okay, frame me the scene.
I think we see Kit coming down out of the turret and he's growling. He's all worked up. And he walks by like a med bay maybe and goes in there. And he, out of frustration and anger and rage, I think he's going to shoot up some combat stims.
Works for me. So indulge your vice.
Yeah, and I think it's an unwise thing and he's overdoing it. So maybe get that point of dark side for this. If that works for you.
Fine. Yeah. So yeah, I think that
So
we might then see him just wrecking the med bay.
After he shoots up, he probably roars, echoing through the hallways and starts smashing things for a moment.
So mark dark side, reduce stress by 2, and then roll a d6.
Okay.
That hopefully likes you.
Actually, you don't reduce it by 2. If I, looking at the rules, if I roll a 1 through 5, then I get an extra 1.
Yeah, on a 6,
I roll
it, I get
anyway. Yeah, but I guess you're right. Okay, so I'll reduce it by 2. Let me just roll. I'll take care of it. Rolling the green stress die. I got a 6.
So on a 4+, mark heat and agree with control how this draws the conspiracy's attention to the team. So let me see. Where's heat at the moment? Heat has just moved into capture. So I think that there's someone on some discrete area of the Iron Fist who's monitoring the Gravhammer on the way in, and he turns to his supervisor and says, "Sir, we some of the medical bay equipment on board the Gravhammer seems to have gone haywire. That seems unusual, doesn't it, sir? Is there Halo? What about you? Do you want to seek relief from the horror?
No, I don't think so.
You're going to sit on the 3. What about Vann?
Yeah, I would like to reveal something of our history together.
Okay.
Which member of the team do I care about most? I think that's Kit, to be honest with you.
Fine.
Yeah.
Fine. And is any of this recollection prompted by the kind of the sound of bits of equipment being thrown around the med bay?
Yeah. Yeah. As it smashes a maybe like either Tsenn or Halo are like, what's that? I'm just like, just give him a second.
So reduce stress by 1 to start with, and
Yeah.
then reveal some of your history together.
Yeah. So the first recollection of them, I'm tempted to go with just repeat our last operation, maybe. Like, because we did actually, maybe that was our first actual meeting. You know, it's a bit unusual to be able to do that right in this game. Normally
Yeah.
you're doing it, but like, yeah. Yeah, I think my first I think Vann's first recollection of them was Kit stopping us from was stopping Vann, I think, from killing one of the people that we dealt with last time. You know, like holding back his hand, grabbing his arm as he brought down a vibroblade to stab into some stormtrooper, and he was like, you know, leave it. It's time to go. You know.
Yeah. He's down. You don't need to do that. So
Yeah.
Reduce stress by 1, and then roll a d6 to see what shape the consequence or options fall.
Okie dokie. There we go.
A 6.
6. So it was really worth it.
Okay, 4 plus. The other operator describes a different version of the event. They say why they are hurt by it, and they roll for stress, or they choose to add something about their anchor to their recollection. They mark their anchor, placing them blah, blah, blah. So, Jason, the ball comes into your court.
Right. Now I have to roll for stress. So I think my memory of that is different in that I really wanted to kill the Stormtrooper also. So I was holding myself back as I held Vann back.
Yeah, fine. Then you roll for stress.
All right. I think it goes up.
It goes up by 1.
All right.
Down by 2, up by 1. You're still ahead of the game.
Oh, well.
Halo's sitting still on there too. What about Zsinj?
Yeah, I'm thinking he's got like a VR headset and he's just going to get lost in that for a while, and sort of because it'll feed off your own sort of biochemistry in your head, and yeah, it's easily addictive.
Okay, so reduce stress by 1, and this is indulge a vice. Roll a d6.
Green. 6.
A 6. On 4 plus, mark heat and agree with control how this draws attention to the team. Gee whiz, right. So I'm going to mark another heat, which fills up capture. And in a different part of the Iron Fist, a second monitoring station goes pip, pip, pip. And he turns to, sir, there appears to be use of a non-standard cybernetic stimulant aboard the grav hammer against all regulations. And the officer says, I'll send a squad to investigate.
Fantastic.
But on a 6 plus, it was really worth it. Reduce stress by another 1.
All right.
So with all that in mind, because you can't separate your what you know from what you the characters know from what you the players know. Let's run the briefing. And I think that Will, your wish from last time is that this time you had a plan that was kind of agreed and nailed down a bit.
Yeah. My wish was that we would decide before we go in on what's our angle, basically. Like, are we pretending to be people, or are we hiding from people, or are we going loud? Because those are 3 different broad strokes to the blades in the dark. Are you going in hot or cold, basically?
So that's the question to the table. what's Halo? Because you're sat on the bridge of the Gravhammer, I think, and you're approaching the Iron Fist. Halo, what's your contribution to this conversation? What undercover or not, hot or not?
Not hot.
Not hot.
But I think she's a little leery about undercover because it didn't really work for us. So maybe sneaky. That would be her vote.
Okay.
Because I think she's probably sitting in the bridge reviewing like the complement of the of the Star Destroyer, like just how huge this thing is, and it, like you said, it is a city. I think we would have a fairly good chance of blending
getting
in,
lost.
Getting lost. That's more getting lost. Yeah.
Yeah. What about Vann?
I think Vann's. I think we need a mixed approach.
Go on.
I think it's both as stealthy, right? But I think that some of us. I think it is the New Hope maneuver, which is Luke and Han in Stormtrooper uniform, and Obi-Wan Kenobi is meanwhile sneaking around the ship. So I think play to both strengths basically. Like you can always sneak those of us who can disguise ourselves and can pass it off. It's an asset to play, right? Whereas, but the work that we need to do, I think, requires you to be, Metal Gear Soliding it around the thing, basically infiltrating.
Okay. What about Kit?
Yeah, I like that. When we did kind of set the stage at the end of last session, I made that point of using the 6 to say that we came in at a quiet backwoods hangar, so we can use that to our advantage, maybe to kick off being stealthy, and then Vann or someone can go do the Obi-Wan Kenobi, and maybe, I mean, Halo, you already you've maintained your cover, so we could take advantage of that. You could be taking this Wookiee prisoner to wherever we find out the secret research is going on. Maybe there's some reason, or maybe we can establish a reason why you'd be needing to take a Wookiee there, a human subject or something.
Blake, what is Tsenn?
I just need to clarify. So, will I sort of smuggled onto the big ship or onto the little ship that then went to the big ship?
Which one do you want to be on? I think it's more likely that you're on the little ship.
Yep.
To be honest.
But how little is this ship? Is this like 60 people or something? Or?
I think it's got a crew of about 20 odd.
Okay. Right.
And they're all locked in their bunk rooms, the survivors.
Right. Okay. Yeah, the split option is probably best, works for us, because we can't put the Wookiee in a Stormtrooper outfit, or probably me either, but the other two probably can. So.
Okay. So what's shaping up is Halo and Vann are intending to be prisoner escort, and Kit and Tsenn are going to be the captured prisoners. Because I can't remember when you contacted the Iron Fist for help, whether you told them that you had prisoners aboard.
I don't think so, but maybe we could retcon it. Or...
I am happy for you to do that. Yeah?
I would like to suggest that we do the briefing of like the gather intel to see what we're actually coming into before we go further into I think we've got the broad stroke of we're doing some sort of covert op,
Fine. I'm the operational objective at the minute seems to be to find out something about Uravan's work on stealth tech, but I'm not going to even write that down at this point. So who or what is the focus of the operation? Well, Vann, who or what is the focus, therefore?
What is the focus of the operation is the stealth project, right? Which we should give some sort of cool name. Project
Wraith.
Project Wraith. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Right. So secrets is the broad category, and you're going to call it Project Wraith.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me go next to Halo. where's the target? I think we know it's there, but again, we've said that this is a city-sized ship. So, is there something in that overall list of where is the target that would give you some would give you some idea of where on the ship Project Wraith is based? We know it's in some kind of science area, but I don't know.
Right. Wow. The list is, I guess I was thinking that probably somewhere on the Super Star Destroyer there'd be some sort of lab or some sort of facility like that. But
I think if you choose facility, you might get some that might pop up some sub choices that might fit what you've got in mind.
There is a science lab under industrial as well.
Oh, is it under industrial? Right.
Yeah.
There you
go. Okay. Well, and it's under, yeah, because there's also a tech lab in there too.
Well, take your pick.
So industrial, you said industrial. I like tech lab.
Okay. Opposition. Tsenn, I mean, you're bound to, I think, face at least some stormtroopers as a default, but do you want to up the ante on the minimum level of threat you're going to face?
No, I think there's just lots of them.
Yeah, an almost endless supply of them.
Yeah, this is quantity, not quality.
Fine. So if you want to select, I think the opposition, I think it probably says former stormtroopers, but we know what we mean. And then Jason, in terms of choose what they are doing, again, I think there might be something in there that's fairly obvious, but just for completeness.
I guess they are providing security for a secret site.
I think they are.
And the site would be Project Wraith.
I think lab. So, which we know is located in a tech lab in, some among many in this chunk of this deck of or segment of the ship where there's lots of this kind of stuff going on. So with all that in mind, therefore, I think in terms of gathering intelligence to broaden your understanding of your target, I think there's a couple of options. You could flash back to something we haven't seen Vann tell you yet. You could flash back to something that Teen Sodok might know that we haven't seen her tell you yet. Or maybe it would be possible to interrogate the Gravhammer's computer system to find out some stuff about the Star Destroyer. Those were the three things that came to mind in what is a much narrower set of options for the briefing, because we are literally in transit from one operation to the next. So let me go in reverse order then. So Jason, in terms of kit, do you want to what do you want to know? In which case, frame me something that fits into those broad categories I've just described, or do you want to reserve for a prep action? I mean, I think that your prep action is pretty much nailed down as pretending to be a prisoner, which is, right, not hugely difficult.
I think we see me, flashing through using the computer to flash through all the blueprints and stuff of the ship, try to find out where the secret lab would be, and depending if I roll well or not, whether I could ask some questions about it.
Fine.
Would that be research?
I think that's research. So expertise is at play, and you can have the stress dice if you want it.
Sure. 4 on the stress.
On the stress dice, so stress goes up by 1. Okay. For nothing, I think that you know where it is. But for nothing, I'll tell you, it is some distance from the subsidiary hangar that you've been directed to. Because if you are going to come as a prisoner transport, I think they will direct you to a deck where the security cells and interrogation and stuff are located. So I think it is quite some distance away. You get for nothing. But then you've got a question you can ask me.
Right. What is the secret way that we can get in? Whether it's Jeffrey tubes or going down one of those endless pits that they have in these ships. Whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I'm Star Trek has Jeffrey's tubes. Alien has ducts.
Mm-hmm.
What does Star Wars have?
We do see Obi-Wan and Rey running along all kinds of like vents and gantries and stuff.
Exactly. They're just on an enormous scale, it always seems to be. Okay.
Star Wars Rebels has a lot of crawling through ducts as well.
Maybe there's a part where it's still under construction that borders on it. So like there's all kinds of, like he said, like gantries and like elevated pathways and stuff and construction equipment. And it's very poorly, it's got very poor security because it's
well, that's asking a lot. That's it.
Okay.
So, but
okay. At least it's secret. It's
is there a way
potential
to get there?
secret way. Okay.
There is a vertical power shaft running from the security deck up to the tech deck. Yeah?
Maybe it's under some sort of repair. Because this is a warship, right?
Maybe. I think that the answer to the question is yes, there is. It's that power shaft. Yeah. Let me go next to Vann, I think. How do you want to... What are you interested in knowing a bit more about?
Yeah, I think you've completely messed up your order there, but yeah.
Oh, did I? Where should I go?
I started off the...
Oh, fine. Let me go. I've lost it now. I'll go to Zsinj.
I think it's Blake, yeah.
Zsinj, what do you want to know? I mean, how do we see you finding it out?
Yeah, I've got surveillance. I think I'm looking for a lot of footage. And it's like, yeah, it's easy to find officers and stormtroopers, but who is different? Who stands out that's, a different species or the Imperial Force Guards or whatever? Something that makes you go, holy shit, what are they doing here or something?
I love that. Let's have you roll with surveillance.
So that's just 2 dice. Why is this not... okay. It's 4 and a 6.
I didn't see the expertise dice roll, but it doesn't matter. It won't get any better than that. So
I did a green and a grey anyway.
Fine. So stress goes up by 1, which is great because you also get intel. Congratulations. For nothing, I will tell you that Zsinj uses a large amount of what amounts to slave indentured labor. So there are all kinds of different species aboard here, because it's also used as something of a prison. And I have to say, I can't now get away from the idea that there is some bit of this this ship that operates a little bit like the prison in Andor. Where so they are fabricating parts for to repair. They are, being marched around the ship to install stuff, but they have a distinctive uniform. Yeah?
Okay.
So where shall I put that? I'll put that on the bottom. Indentured labor in specific uniform. There we go. Okay, so you get that for nothing. Now you got 2 questions.
That sinister presence from episode 2, did that person rock up in episode 3? And
no.
Well, are they here?
So you're using the surveillance for this. I think the trouble with the sinister presence is, well, right, the only contact you've had with the sinister presence was that hooded figure in the Hutt's Gamorrean sumo club. And I think the only answer I can give you to that is maybe
Right.
with 200,000 people aboard. I think that kind of. So I mean, if you want to take that one back.
Well, can I spend intel to increase the chances they're here?
Wait, I'll ask you about spending intel later. But right now, remember that this is, in effect, you are skimming surveillance on a city.
Yeah. What about the Razor Girls? There's a chance they're here.
I'm prepared to have the Razor Girls aboard, if that would be helpful.
Maybe they're guarding the, what do you call it? Whoever's in charge of the indention.
Yeah, but remember, they were the hut security, and the Raptors shot at them. So it needs to be consistent with the narrative we got to date.
Well, maybe the hut's supplying the indentured servants or something, and they've.
Okay, so do you want that? Do you want? Because again, I'm struggling to see.
Are you saying that the Razor Girls have been conscripted here, or that they've been like imprisoned here?
That one works. On the ship? That one works.
That's possible.
So they could be like, straight to work on the Iron Fist for you, gang scum.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So the indentured labor. This includes some of the Razor Girls who were captured after the raid on the Sumo Club. Yeah, that's an interesting twist. So there's your one question. Do you want a second question, or do you want to reserve that and see what's left at the end, whether what you've done could help?
Yeah, I'll wait.
Fine. Okay. Let me go next to Halo.
I was gonna do something with my intrusion, but feels like we've essentially discovered dang near everything. So I had a couple ideas. So one, I'll throw this out to the group because I just see what's. So one was, she does have that intrusion skill. Like one thing, maybe she could look for our exit strategy, how we're gonna get out.
I mean, all I've told you so far is that there's a vertical power shaft running from the security deck up to tech. Now, if you wanted to use your intrusion to assess how you might get in there, what challenge you might face getting there.
Yeah, so that was the other idea I had, was to use that intrusion to, whether it's that or get the codes to get into the because I thought we'd established that we know where it's at, right? So
well, it's on it's on the tech deck,
right?
So could he establish your ship being here? Like they've captured your ship, and maybe it's in a hangar somewhere. Since you're a pilot, if you want to have like a space chase in today's episode.
I mean, I don't know if it has to be our ship, but just like an escape route, right? Whether there's a ship somewhere that I'm going to go for finding and establishing our sort of
exfiltration
strategy.
I'm with that. So I think the infiltration works. Stress dice if you'd like it.
Let's see.
A 5, and it's not on the stress dice, so that is fine. So I will allow you, if you want to tell me the exfiltration route when it matters.
Okay.
All right. Remind me of that because I will forget. But you can also ask me a question based on how you come to know that route or that approach, which could be almost anything, I suppose.
Right. And related to that,
or the process of getting that, something you picked up as you were going through looking for routes from the tech deck to some kind of escape route.
Gosh. Could she, as she's doing that, could she see some of the evidence that maybe through the we had the two events that alerted the Imperials to something funky going on there. Is that could she see something that lets her know that maybe we're not that they're on to us a little bit?
That's great. Yeah, I think that what you're able to do as you just monitor some of the activity, as you come into the landing bay, you will see two squads of stormtroopers are waiting, presumably to either investigate the slightly suspicious monitoring that they've had and or to provide prisoner escort. Yeah? So I'm going to say that there's two squads waiting in the hangar bay. Okay. Finally, Vann.
Well, we know where the tech lab is, but we know very little about about our actual target, about the technology, about the
it's on the tech deck, so it's up there.
Which, by the way, tech decks are what they call those little skateboards that you did with your fingers, So every time you say it, that's all I can imagine. Yeah, so I think so this is on the tech deck, so we need it, but we maybe more about something to do with the actual technology, like how it's implemented, like what is it about this stealth tech that's like the actual target within that lab,
Is that going to be a flashback to a conversation with Rodain?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So off you go.
Yeah.
Expertise, authority, and stress dice if you want it.
Yeah. If NRI is going to show you any sort of leeway, Eurovan, then you're going to have to tell us now, what is it? So I will roll. I'm only on 2 stress. It would be rude not to roll with the stress die, wouldn't it? Mind you, they can almost certainly only go up. But anyway, let's see. Didn't need the stress die.
There you go. It is actually an amplifier for a force user. Concealment at scale you get for nothing.
I'm imagining Uravan using a data pad and sketching out and like the diagrams and stuff, and then it has like a silhouette of a human silhouette, and like stuff that's like force user goes into this somewhere here, and the horrible look of that. Okay. So I get an extra question on a 5, don't I?
You do.
Well? Yeah. Do they have how big is it, I think, is the question. Like, are we looking at this, you know what I mean? Is it something that we can steal, or are we looking at plans or a discrete piece of technology,
I think this is going to be quite a big thing.
Right.
And the force user is placed in a chamber in the middle of this amplifier. Because again, in my mind's eye, Star Wars technology is big.
Yeah.
It doesn't fit in your hip pocket.
Yeah.
So what I've written is a force amplifier which scales up concealment, a large, I'm going to say facility, with a force user at its center. Yeah.
Yep. So those are my 2 questions, aren't they?
They are.
Right. I suppose with those, I would like to ask if, like, just to meta-narratively sort of frame it, right? This then doesn't appear to be a piece of technology that we could steal and take away. So therefore, our objective is to destroy it here, right? That seems accurate to everyone, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think it messes with the universe if this technology gets somewhere else, to be honest.
Oh no, I mean that's when the New Republic gives it to their top men, you know, and it goes into the big warehouse on Coruscant.
So far I've written for objective: destroy, not steal. So that's your basic information. Now you are very welcome to spend some intel. You know, if I point you at it's disappeared all the way up there. Heat and intel. You know, at any time, where is it? During downtime, reduce stress, reduce heat. Does anybody want to spend some intel? Because some of you got quite a bit, haven't you?
Yes, I was thinking, I worked on this ship for a while, and I know a few sort of ways to get around without drawing attention, so I sort of reduce heat with that if possible.
Fine. Yeah, I just, because at the minute the heat is embodied in those 2 squads of stormtroopers.
Yep.
So I need something quite specific. That is
maybe as I was preparing to leave, sort of initially when I was working here, I prepared some sort of the electronic version of booby traps, and I can set them off remotely to draw their attention away to deal with some sort of issue in Corridor 13.
Right.
Off they trot.
I think what you just did was to define an obstacle or a complication that you will overcome. There is online security that Tsenn knows a back door into. And he will look cool triggering it. Because that'll cost you an intel.
Yep,
what do you
done.
think?
Yep, that's fine.
Yeah. Anybody else want to spend some intel either thickening up the briefing or setting an obstacle? Jason, what about Kit?
I have this idea. I don't know if it works in our fiction, so feel free to veto it. But I like the idea that this force user that's sort of powering this stealth tech, that they're able to have sort of a part of it then, I guess, is that they themselves can be stealthed. So like our force opponent will be sort of like look like a kind of predator. I'm imagining like a predator where it's kind of like, you know, faceted. It's almost invisible, you know. I don't know.
I mean, this is
although
something
you're describing
Kit.
this as, yeah.
Because I'm very happy for Kit to have to confront a concealed Sith.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, spend the
like
intel. I'll write it in.
Okay.
Need to overcome the challenge of a, inverted commas, concealed Sith.
Okay.
Except I can't spell concealed. Here we go. That'll help. There we go.
And I think I'll spend one intel too, just to reduce my stress by 1.
Okay, fine. And remember, you can also spend stress to reduce heat. Now, Tsenn, that's where you started. Don't feel, you know, you can just spend that stress to you know, send some kind of communications protocol to the ship that says, we've just discovered an excuse for why you had these funny signals. You know, I don't want to force you into creating an obstacle when you set out to reduce heat. Blake, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I wanted to draw the stormtroopers away and have sort of remotely set off things. So
Okay, let's.
But I've got another intel to spend, so I'm happy to do both.
No. I will reduce heat by 1, which removes 1 of the squad. So only 1 squad remains on the hangar deck. Okay.
Yep.
Halo, do you want to spend any intel?
Yeah, I want to spend an intel to. She is 100% on board and going to help destroy the thing, but she wants to steal the plans for it. Like she wants to, because she is kind of a greedy bastard. So,
okay, so I'm going to write something. So this sounds like you're setting up for Halo. Halo will look cool stealing the plans for the device without the others knowing. Is that fair?
perfect.
So at some point, there will be an opportunity for you to try to get the plans out without the others recognizing. Fine. And then there's a whole new series about what happens to those plans. Vann, any intel spend?
So intel's been spent to declare that there is a Sith on board, right? Like,
there's now going to be a Sith. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, just because that was what I was thinking as well. Now I'm suddenly doing that thing where you had that thing fixated in your head and then it disappears and you can't think of anything else once it's gone on.
There can always be another Sith.
Yeah. Well, mine was like a Bacta tank with a mysterious shape inside. Maybe it's the one that we thought we killed, right? But yeah, I'll leave that. Well, I think I also had, for some reason, thought that Malabeka, Jason's anchor, had been taken, but she hasn't, has she?
No,
So,
I think that Jason spent some intel last time to provide an out.
yeah. Because I was thinking, declare that she's one of the slaves, So we have 2 missions. So instead, what I think I'm going to say is that Moff Crotas, the Imperial governor who enslaved Vann's people and sold them off to the rest of the galaxy, is on board the Iron Fist.
Wow. So is that an obstacle?
Well,
because you want him to appear on screen, I guess.
Yeah, I do, but I think really what I'm doing is adding details to the briefing.
Fine. So they are providing security for a secret site project, and the visiting Moff Crotas. Yeah. And that gives me Moff Crotas and anybody that might be there his own security is fine and dandy. Okay. Well, look, it's 53 minutes past the hour. I'm going to suggest we take a break now and we get back in our seats on the hour, yeah? See you on the hour. Okay, so I think our briefing is fairly clear. Well, time will tell how shared our understanding is of it, but yeah, I think it's fairly clear. There are a couple of questions. One, I think, is that most of the crew of the Gravhammer are secured in their kind of bunk rooms. So there's a question about those. The subsidiary question is, therefore, you really want to try and keep people off the Gravhammer. And that may or may not relate to exactly what happens when, the ramp onto the Gravhammer comes down. Is the objective here to create diversion so you can sneak into security and reach the power shaft? Or is this, as somebody has called it in the chat, the Chewbacca maneuver, which is you are the prisoner escort and the prisoners?
So first I'm doing my environmental hazard thing, which takes one of the platoons away, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Only one squad. A handful. A mere handful. But they are here to receive prisoners and to make some inquiries about some peculiar readings that have been picked up from the Graf hammer on arrival or in transit. So that's what they're here for. So, yeah, my question is this, we need a distraction in order to sneak off the ship, or we are prisoner and escorts, or prisoners and escort?
Well, we could divide the party from the start. If Vann, I think where we first started is, I think Vann was thinking maybe of doing like a Obi-Wan Kenobi solo,
No,
thing.
That was me more saying that like we can do both, and that was the comparison. I actually was going to wear the Stormtrooper armor. I think.
Okay.
You know,
Halo, what's your thinking?
Well,
Carry on with the pretense?
Yeah, I think her cover, quote unquote, is still at least her is still intact. We could, so I guess, are both Tsenn and Kit prisoners? Is that the thing?
Well, I think certainly Kit is. We haven't asked the question of Tsenn.
Right.
I could stealth behind. I've got concealment. I'm good being a sneaky little bugger, so I could sort of follow you guys discreetly behind.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
So, do we have
you could be going through that that construction area we talked about, or the pit, or the whatever you call them.
Sorry, Halo, go ahead.
I just was wondering, do we have a plan for keeping the squad of stormtroopers off the ship? Because
that is the complication that remains, I think.
I think it is we can do either say we've had a reactor leak on deck 5. No one's allowed on until we've locked it down, or we do the we're on a special mission for Project Wraith. This prisoner, nobody's allowed on board without Epsilon Gamma 5 clearance.
Or I could behave badly and take a dark side point and take care of the crew.
Oh, but then I don't know. If I think that's I think that would have been more fun if we'd done that in the briefing or whatever, right? Like,
okay, fair enough.
Yeah. I think at the point that we've landed on the Graf hammer, on the Iron Fist, it's just then how do we explain the dead bodies?
I think,
well, we would have. Go ahead.
Spaced them.
Spaced them.
I think that either there's a reactor leak, or there's a malfunction which was causing all those weird readings, or the other thing Will said, either one probably works, because it probably, maybe it doesn't matter, because if we fail the roll, they're going to go on the ship, and if we don't fail the roll, they stay off the ship. So I'm okay with either of those as a way to get after it.
Let's do the reactor leak thing. Yeah,
it's very Star Wars. So
yeah.
So then the other question, it relates to load. Now, clearly, our Wookiee is going to be light loaded, because to be any other kind of load is going to look very odd as a prisoner. I think that I'm content, I think, for anyone in a Stormtrooper uniform to be medium loaded, because that would give you access to a blaster rifle. Because, why wouldn't you? Halo, you're in uniform, I think, as a kind of senior NCO, the driver of the officer that when it all went a bit pear-shaped down on the planet. So I'm thinking light, unless you've got an explanation of why this prisoner escort should be heavily loaded or more than lightly loaded.
Well, the only thing I could think of was that, but it might not jive with the ego of an Imperial officer NCO, but that they could be carrying the prisoner's effects, right? The stuff that the prisoner had, which could explain why they are maybe a medium load. On
one of those trolleys that you see being pulled about by people. Yes. No, that works. That works. In which case, take your pick, light or medium. I think heavy is still going to look suspicious.
I think I'm going to do medium.
Okay. And then Tsenn, you're going to rely on, Jedi mind tricks.
Well, then I think I could just dress like a general tech. I'm going to carry a data pad and just dress like a tech and wander through the corridors. If you know,
But I need to be clear. Is this after everyone's left the hangar deck?
Yep.
Right. Okay. And then you're going to just try and maintain your cover and head to that power. And the rendezvous point is we need to get to the power shaft unless somebody tells me different. Is that the rendezvous point?
Yeah, that's the plan. I think is to rendezvous at the power shaft.
I'm going to check in more often this time.
We're going to rendezvous after we destroy the tech, or we rendezvous there and
you're
then
going to rendezvous. You're on the security deck, and my understanding is that you're going to move through the security deck by different routes, 2 different routes. Zsinj trying to find it as a tech, the rest of you as prisoner escort, and you're going to rendezvous in the power shaft and then go up the power shaft to reach the tech deck.
Okay, sounds good.
That's what I think is going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Destroy and profit. Last step, like.
So, all of this has gone on, and to the audience, all we see is the grav hammer coming into land in this security deck hangar, and down comes the ramp, and who's the first off? That sounds like, I think it's Vann in Stormtrooper uniform, isn't it?
Yeah. I was kind of imagining it as Tsenn is, you're the tech, right? So you're sticking behind. You're the person who were like, no one goes out there until that tech clears it, sort of thing, like they're the one who's going to tell whether the problem's fixed or not on the reactor leak. And I was imagining me coming down as the Stormtrooper's escort with Halo, who is an NCO, right? Like, and I'll
in
come
uniform,
down.
little cap.
Yeah. And I'll come down and like greet the Stormtroopers, like stand, like.
Fine. And you probably will have found on board one of those shoulder pads that denote some kind of officer class, I think.
Yeah.
So there's one of them and 4 other Stormtroopers, waiting, and the officer will march up to you and say, we've been told there's some really weird stuff going on board.
Yes, sir.
What's happening?
Yes, sir. You have to stay. Orders are to stay back. The commander and the rest of the crew are staying on board. They are cut off by a reactor leak. You must. No one can go on or off the ship until that technician gives the all clear.
And gestures up, and that allows Tsenn to be dressed, if he wants to be, as a civilian tech. It's difficult to imagine a Rodian in Imperial uniform, or am I wrong?
I'm just dressed as a tech, and I'm shaking my head, looking at this data plate, and
because we know this ship came up from a civilian transport hub, so perfectly reasonable to have a civilian tech on board to deal with the issue.
Those Osiris idiots didn't do the maintenance work. We got one of them on loan up there. They're cleared.
Okay, let's see how maintain your cover goes.
With authority.
Indeed.
I'm going to include the stress die. That is a 5 on the stress die.
So stress goes up by 1, but maintain your cover on a 5. Your cover holds and they don't find you. They will remain in the hangar to provide security, so nobody goes on. And you can see them peering up to the bridge, expecting somebody up there to kind of go, yeah, it's okay. But so technically, heat is still at capture. So there is still a lot of suspicion around this ship. Yeah. And you march off the hangar deck.
Yeah.
And because it's Star Wars, you take the right exit.
I'm imagining those Stormtroopers like do the parade ground, like file on either side of the thing, like they're now standing guard, like chunk chunk across as we walk through the middle of them out.
Indeed, with Halo, with one of those kind of floating cargo platforms.
And I'm going to say, move it, Wookiee scum, and push Kit in front of me.
So I think the Wookiees in front, then we got the Stormtrooper, then we got the NCO with the evidence, the baggage, and that leaves Zsinj on board the ship looking for an opportunity. So what shape is that opportunity, Zsinj?
I think after a couple of minutes, like, maybe like 7 or 10 minutes, I'll come down and then I'll shut the door, and I'll say, look, I need these parts, and I'll just start techno-babble stuff, because just hope they know nothing, and say, I've been told that there might be some in this area. Is that right? I need these parts to make sure, nothing gets worse.
And what is your objective here? Is this to get you out of the hangar, or to get them out of the hangar?
Either.
Well, which is it? Because the way this plays out varies depending on what your objective is.
Yeah, me out of the hangar.
Fine. Okay. So let's have you roll to maintain your cover then. Or are you going to use Jedi mind tricks to?
Bugger! Yeah, I'll use Jedi mind tricks. What's the worst that could happen?
Okay, use the Force. So you're using using concealment to maintain your cover. Spend a point of stress.
Right.
Yeah. And you gain, in effect, temporary access to the disguise expertise, which makes you convincing. So roll with expertise. You can add the stress dice if you'd like to.
No, not yet. Hang on, did I roll too many?
Well, it's all right. I'm ignoring the one on the stress die. I'm looking at the pair of sixes.
Yeah.
So on a 6, intel goes up by 1. But I think the reason that you're going to roll for stress, because you rolled that 6, is when you kind of focus on them, you are aware of a really, really big disturbance in the Force.
Shit.
That sits like a kind of blanket over this ship. Whatever that amplifier is doing, it's either an incredibly potent Force user, or that device is really able to ramp up the field effect of the Force. So roll for stress.
Okay. I'm sure I clicked it, but I don't think it moved.
Fine.
1.
That's fine. You are cool with that. I'm seeing split screen. I'm seeing our prisoner escort moving along the corridors, in kind of hiding in plain sight. Is that the same approach Zsinj is taking, or does Zsinj look for, the back exits, the maintenance doors and corridors? What are we seeing?
Well, I did already establish I used to work here, so can I spend an intel to just avoid a lot of crap?
No.
Damn it.
So let's have you roll to do something else. Can you? Because we know there's been work going on here. Is the route the same? Roll to do something else.
Surveillance, I guess. I can try and hack into the surveillance and
I go with that.
Give them some loop footage and all that wonderful stuff. All right. So,
again, the great advantage of this ship is there is so much activity that
2 5s.
Security is there are people watching screens, but they're not watching everything. Pair of 5s, fine. I'm seeing you in a slightly dark, dingy maintenance corridor where work has been going on. And you're heading towards the power shaft. Meanwhile, Halo, Kit, Vann, you're heading towards cells, I guess. So how do I see you getting off these main corridors into this power shaft? Halo, you're the intrusion. What's your best approach?
Yeah, because we've got to now. I don't think we want to actually go to the detention area.
I'm assuming that you will pause before you get to that kind of room with that console in the middle and lots of cell corridors going off at angles from it.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe yeah, maybe we just I was just thinking maybe we just keep going like we're supposed to be doing what we're doing, right? And just keep going towards and then I think maybe look for maybe we want to look for a way out of sort of the so we've established there's lots of like back office stuff, these maintenance corridors and things like that. Maybe we should see if we can find one of those en route to here to get off the main, out of the main drag, so to speak.
Okay. So let's have you do that then. I think this is probably do something else.
Before we do that, I mean, Will, what are you thinking? I mean, it's both of them here.
Yeah, so I was just thinking that we established that there's a quiet route to get to the tech deck, to the science labs. Yeah. If we are transferring Kit as a prisoner to Wraith, we have removed the reason that we need to take a quiet route, because we're essentially, if we're just escorting a prisoner through the Iron Fist, why do we need to go through a route, right? If we're,
sorry, I did check in and say, so am I right in understanding different routes rendezvous at the power shaft?
Okay, so but that's it. The power shaft is the route to the tech deck, isn't it?
Yes, it's the quiet route to the tech deck.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying point in that part of it. If we're escorting Kit as a prisoner, the prisoner escort is to get him onto the ship. The getting him to the tech deck is via the power shaft. Was my understanding?
Yes.
So like it's more about quietly getting away from the detention area to the area. This prisoner is getting lost in transit, basically, is what I'm saying.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. So Halo, let's have you roll to do something else with your intrusion in play. Stress dice if you want it.
Of course. Why hold back now?
Oh, 6. This goes brilliantly. So mark intel. And what you see is a power technician, coming out of a side corridor, and that is instantly your route to the power shaft and this enormously high chamber. So this goes perfectly. What's the extra benefit?
Sorry, I'm drawing a blank. We're already where we want to be. I'm trying to think of.
You can ask the table if they want to suggest something. It's always open.
No one notices the Wookiee.
Yeah. And I go further than that. There is another Wookiee in transit.
Yeah. I mean, we established they're using slave labor, so maybe they're using other big guys like I.
And so, somebody at one end of your trip marks Wookiee in transit. Someone at, in security marks Wookiee arrived in cell. Who knew we lost a Wookiee?
There's a Wookiee, enslaved technician sort of thing working on here. And as it opens up, we grab him and hand him off to another pair of stormtroopers and say, "There's a prisoner, take him to deck," or whatever, right? And then by the time they work it out, it'll all be, because no one's listening to the Wookiee, right?
Exactly. And the fact is that there are tens of thousands of people in motion. Think of a city, not a ship. But Halo, the thing that's going to mean that you're going to roll for stress on that 6 is that when you get into the power shaft, you realize that there is no elevator, or the elevator is 4 floors up, but there are lots of rungs in the wall, lots of ways, lots of handholds. You're going to have to climb up there. So roll for stress, please.
All right.
A 3, you might be all right on that, maybe.
I'm at 3 already, so
home free. So, Zsinj, you're there waiting for them. I've told you it's a long climb up. Describe that climb, Zsinj?
I think he's just carefully climbing up and looking around. He doesn't want to drop anything, and he's just sort of stopping and listening, and just taking his time. He's thinking, going to control his breathing.
Fine. Is he, because at the minute I'm noticing blaster carbine, data pad, and grenade on his equipment list. Are you declaring those now?
Yep.
Or are those just hangovers from previously?
No, that's for now.
Okay, so you are staying with medium load, and 4 of your 5 boxes are filled.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Now, Halo, you were dragging, the equipment. I'm very happy for you to go from medium to light and to have somebody else go to medium if that's the way the team want to play it.
You want to do that? I would probably pick up the slack, pick up the bowcaster or whatever.
That works for me.
Okay, so I'll shift that to there. There you go. And
climbing up the shaft might be my thing if we want to
go
go
for
there.
it. Talk to me about it.
So yeah, Wookiees have claws. They usually keep retracted, but I let them come out and I just drive my hands into this metal and start climbing up. And I don't see climbing equipment on the list, but I'll take a box of like climbing gear and like lower ropes down for everybody else to use to climb up. But I'll lead the way in the climb.
Well, let's have you roll to do something else then. And if that goes well, it'll go well for everybody.
Would military field craft fit here?
It would indeed.
Okay. All right. I'll use the stress die. Oh my goodness. That is a bad roll.
A 2 and a pair of 1s. So this is not looking good.
I could call on a contact, right?
You can always have called on a contact.
Yeah, right. As of right now, let's see. Do something else. 1 to 3, you either fail or control offers a success at a cost. Mark heat. Maybe
Mark heat at this point is likely to be
all the way to attack, or is that where we're
going?
No,
that it's likely to be me saying, Stormtrooper rushes off ship saying, the crew have been locked up. We've had a break. We've had a
right. If you call on a contact, you re-roll. Is that how that works?
That's the only way you get a re-roll.
Yeah.
As long as you can come up with a reasonable, is this to do with the equipment that you brought for climbing, or?
Yeah, I think we'll say I'll have a contact. I don't know if Tin Sodak would fit here, but somebody has left the climbing equipment for us. There's already some ropes, that they've laid out that we can use.
Yeah, I'd go for that. Spend stress and get a reroll.
All right, let's do better. 5.
I was going to say it's difficult to imagine doing worse, but one of those 5s is on the stress dice, so stress goes up again.
All the way to 5.
Wow, that's 0 to 60 in no time flat. And with those ropes, everyone gets, up to the platform where the elevator, the kind of service elevator is. And then I'm seeing you kind of begin to go up, but I'm going to go to Kit and just check in. Is there seek relief from the horror here yet, or are you going to walk the knife edge?
Well, I'll stick where I'm at. I got some intel if I need to.
Brave decision. So yeah, I'm seeing this kind of open framework service elevator running up, deck after deck after deck after deck. Tech deck. What's the plan? Because you're about to leave the power shaft that runs almost to, the complete height of the ship. What's the plan now? You're going to you're on the tech deck, or you will be once you go through those doors.
Alan, where is Moff Crotas, do we think?
Well, I've said he's visiting, and
He's
I think
visiting.
he's visiting to see this technology.
He's coming to the technology. Okay. Well, I think that's going to maybe, we can imply what the audience might suspect that Vann's actual motivation is here, plan is here, versus the actual plan that we're supposed to be doing.
So we got Vann, who's out to get someone who enslaved his people. We've got Halo, who's going to steal the plans, even though the objective is not to steal plans. And and the other two are currently believing all is well with the world. So I think you could assume you are going to encounter Moff Krotas at some point during the mission.
Yeah, no, I think I mainly wanted to establish, is it a case of me diverting here or further in,
No, I think feel free to wait.
Yeah, cool.
But I am interested in what we see once those doors open onto the tech deck.
I'm seeing that we're like in an elevated area, like a catwalk above the main tech area. So like we're looking down and we see the structures and all the technicians and stormtroopers and slaves all doing their thing. And there's all kinds of offices and access panels and stuff up here that maybe we can do our thing here stealthily. Of course, it probably won't work.
Absolutely. It's almost
right.
It's very big, and it's almost like you come out on the fourth floor of a city block, with lots of levels and lots of walkways and lots of people milling about. I just want to know, is the prisoner escort thing still flying here?
No, I think that's out the window now.
Okay, so how do we hide the Wookiee then?
Well, we did take this repair route, right, as opposed to the main route down into it. So I'm imagining the bit that the lift that we've come out of, right, is like a utility type one on like a gantry up above it. Like, so, as long as we stay low, no one's looking up. You know what I mean? Right now.
Okay. So you're hoping to use these kind of maintenance gantries to identify where Project Wraith is located. Yeah. Okay. Tsenn, I'm going to come to you because you've got surveillance. How are you going to find Project Wraith in this city block that is the tech deck?
Well, I've also got comms and my data pad, so I guess I can look for audio traffic mentioning or not mentioning stuff.
Okay. So one of those kind of circular wall sockets that normally droids plug into, but maybe you've got the requisite adapter. So let's have you roll to investigate.
I'm going to use stress dice. What the hell?
Oh, just as well you did, because that's where the 6 sits. So stress goes up by 1.
Yep.
And I will tell you for nothing that you now have, we'll see over your shoulder on the data pad what amounts to a 3D wireframe diagram of this part of the ship. The first question I think you're going to ask me is, where's Project Wraith?
Yep.
There it is. Yeah. Beep, 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 beep. And the second question is?
Is there any obvious security guards or not security like bulkheads and stuff that need retinal scanners or data pads or whatever,
I think that it is one of the most secure parts of the tech deck, if not the most secure part of the tech deck. And it seems to occupy, a significant volume. Okay. So it is secure, it is large, but you have come out in the kind of the back lanes of this part of the ship.
And I can't spend intel to sort of give us like security passes from stuff that I used to use or anything, or
you could roll to do something else, or you can spend stress to get a contact that would give you temporary access to disguise.
Your contact could be one of the, you said you worked on here before. For example, your contact could be the crooked quartermaster or whoever, right? Like who's an Imperial but takes bribes or anything like that, and is set whatever. Because yeah, as I said in the chat, we're dressed as Imperials, but that only goes as far as a visual check, right? Otherwise, we have to lie.
Right. Yeah, I can do that.
Okay, so mark stress, and I will then tell you that I think that puts you're approaching the bleeding edge. So I will ask you in a moment to think about secretly from the horror. But yes, that allows you to roll with expertise for what amounts to disguise. Do you have access to some ID? We'll test their effectiveness when the time comes.
Yeah.
Oh, a 6. You do indeed. You have that ID. Which of the rest of the team does the ID also extend to? You now have ID for a legitimate contractor.
I'm going to say Halo because that lets them do what they want to do.
Okay. So it turns out that Halo's NCO cover that the Pategas also set up is solid as a rock. The irony of it. It's absolutely solid. So Halo and Tsenn have what amounts to disguise expertise, unless the fiction changes. And Stormtroopers all look the same anyway. It's you go anywhere dressed as a Stormtrooper. Kit, you've had the manacles off. Had the manacles on. Do we know? Are they discarded? Are they kept in case you need to, go back?
Yeah, they're discarded, and I grabbed my gear from the trolley that we were dragging along. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to climb up kind of in the rafters to get a good vantage point so I can cover people or I can quickly move to them if they need help. But otherwise, I'm just going to kind of stay in the shadows.
Fine. I've just remembered, I think I've spent one of my 2 available complications on Superbad. There's a supernatural threat, so there's an incredibly potent force user somewhere on board. Who's taking the lead? I'm going to look to Halo, who is our intrusion specialist here. Can you get them to to where Project Wraith is located without causing a problem? So I think this is maintain your cover, but with intrusion.
Okay. Yeah, because I think there'd be no way to get access for her to get access. We're probably going to have to get inside Project Wraith before she can even try to get the plans or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, this would be a really tedious episode if you just had to sit at a computer terminal and download some stuff.
Data port, and then we're out of here, right?
Indeed.
Before we go any further, I just wanted to ask if it's okay if we ask you, how do we have a plan on how we're going to destroy are we going to blow it up? Or are we going to, should we think about that at all before we just wander into Project Wraith?
Well, explosives are a gear that we can declare. I think we have heavy weapons. No, tech equipment and explosives is our safe house benefit, so we always have access to explosives if we declare it in our thing. I think it's a thing that we can. I would say, when the time comes to frame how you're doing it, decide whether or not you want it to be Tsenn hacking the machine or we're planting the devices, right? Whichever one makes sense, Yeah. We could set it to overload, right, or something.
Yeah, that's the other thing I was thinking is that's also a very Star Wars thing to
have
technology that is very easy to make it explode itself. So
yeah, there's always a combination.
Is intrusion computers or is that sneaking? I can always forget.
It's both.
Okay.
In this incarnation.
Okay.
All right.
So, and before we go any further, I just need to check, have you discarded your Stormtrooper blaster rifle, Vann?
No, I haven't actually, but I hadn't actually said that I was carrying it.
Right, then fine. So you don't have that's fine. It's just if you haven't got a Stormtrooper blaster rifle, then
well, I mean, it's
in the equipment that
conceit of the game, right? Until I actually use it in play.
Fine.
And
Fine.
I felt being dressed as a stormtrooper was enough to
Enough said.
the thing
Enough
so
said.
far, you know.
So, Halo, you're gonna get there.
All right, so
Maintain your cover, and
here goes everything.
a 4. On a 4, your cover holds and they don't find you. So I'm now cutting to, this has to be in some discrete block. Yeah, so maybe it's 4 or 5 stories high. You've made your way across this gantry to the roof of this structure in this much larger space that is the tech deck. We've got that bird's eye view of hundreds of people moving about down below. You're on the roof of the Project Wraith building. Where to next? Vann, was that a...
Yeah, so we're on the roof. So I'm imagining like the tech deck is this big open sort of space with all these different buildings and infrastructure all around it, right? And we've come to the sort of like the prefab dome almost thing that's sort of like the Project Wraith area.
I was envisioning a cylindrical building of about 5 floors.
Yeah. I guess I just mean like in our world, we'd probably build it like a dome because that'd be a big temporary structure. Right? In the Star Wars world, it's a big hexagonal type, crazy sort of geometric thing. And it's got like a secure entry way that we're going through. Like we're going through the main entrance. It sounds
You're on the roof. You're on the roof.
We're on the roof. Okay.
The covert, the kind of back lanes have taken you to the roof.
Okay. Which is also where we're hoping Kit's going to come down on, I guess, with his climbing through the other way, right, through this Wookiee athleticism. Yeah, I think it is looking around, making sure that there's no cameras or anything here, and then we're going to be entering into Project Wraith via a vent or something, perhaps, like because we've got to get into the actual project, the technology.
You have to get into the building.
Yeah.
And how's that going to be done? Is this sneaking in? Is this intrusion in play? Is this tearing, a bit of roof up? Or are you going to use those IDs?
Well, that's what I mean. If we use the IDs, it would imply not going through an event.
That's my question.
Yeah, let's use them. We got them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that is, we know we've got an ID for Tsenn, an ID for Halo. Vann is going in place, hiding in plain sight as the Stormtrooper everyone ignores. And that leaves Kit on the roof, I think, looking for a different way in. Yeah? Okay. So let's the last time that Vann went in through the front door or something, it went beautifully. But this time, he's not rolling the dice. So what could go wrong? So I think probably I'm going to go to Tsenn for this dice roll to get through initial security, simply on the grounds that it was your contact that provided the cover.
Yeah. I was just wondering if I could declare a relation to someone else in the team to lower my stress thing.
Of course you can.
Because I'm thinking when Kit went bananas in the medical bay earlier, it scares when he loses it like that, it scares the shit out of Tsenn. And it reminded him of an earlier time when there was like a bar fight, and instead of a controlled fight, Kit was just losing it and chucking people into people, and it was really vicious. And Tsenn kind of retreated and scooted under a table and was just shaking, watching. And that's why when he saw the medical bay thing, he went and did the virtual reality thing to get his mind off it. So thinking, oh, cool, Kit's going to be on the roof. I get away from this guy and I don't have to be shitting myself the whole time.
Reduce stress by 1, and then roll a d6 to reveal some of your history together with that history in mind.
4.
4 plus. The other operator, this is Kit, describes a different version of the event. They say why they are hurt by it and they roll for stress, or they choose to add something about their anchor and blah, blah, blah.
I think
because just to be, I should have asked before we did this. Tsenn, if you target Kit with that, Kit can end up breaking because they're already on 5 stress. So I'm gonna offer Jason the opportunity to veto that.
No, it's okay. I can spend an intel worst case scenario.
Okay. Well, you better spend it now because it's.
Okay, so this is reveal sympathy history 4+. Different versions they roll for stress, or they choose to add something about their anchor to the recollection. I can do that part, right?
You can.
So yeah, let's do that. Let's say the reason I was so upset at that time was because it was shortly after Malabaka first disappeared, and I'm also upset now because I don't know, maybe I get a comm or something from my friend.
Leave that bit to me.
Okay, I'll leave that to you, but I'll mark Malabaka as missing. Or you
as
did?
Missing.
Okay.
I just did.
Okay.
And then I am immediately going to spend some heat to have her taken.
Oh.
And you know that other Wookiee.
Damn you. Okay.
That was on their way to security.
Oh yeah.
It's Malabaka. And I think as Vann, Halo, and Tsenn arrive at the entry to Project Wraith, who does Kit look down from 5 floors up and see but an escort, a squad of stormtroopers marching Malabaka into the Project Wraith building?
Right.
Dun, dun, dun.
Okay, so now you want me to roll intrusion or disguise or something? Or?
Now I want you to roll to see whether on the tail of this you can get through. So you have temporary expertise because you've got that cover. Stress dice if you want it, always. Oh, a 1 and a 3. Gee whiz.
Shit.
Fancy that. So I'll mark heat, which puts it back up to capture. And I think that is those stormtroopers have finally got tired waiting. And I kind of, Captain, can you just come to the bridge windows and just reassure us that everything's okay on board? No sign. And finally something, okay, you better go and check it out. And they march onto the ship, and then so they now know that there is a dangerous team aboard. They have no idea where or why or how, but they are here. Do you want to do anything else with that? Because at the minute, I am looking at what it says. You're blown. Choose to either get caught or mark heat and flee for your life.
Can I mark intel or stress or something to get rid of it? Or what can I do?
Can you use your specialism?
Well, no, you have to make a simple choice. You're blown. Choose to either get caught or mark heat and flee for your life, or call on a contact that maybe is the same contact and you get a reroll.
Oh, yeah, I'll call.
Do you have the stress to play with?
Yeah, I do, because I just went down. So
okay.
So
it can't be worse than a 1 and a 3, and you could include the stress dice the second time round just in case.
Yeah, why not?
Oh, but you're on 5. You're on 5 stress. Ooh. You can reduce that stress by 1 by erasing an intel.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay.
All right, and I'll call on a contact to reroll. So hang on. Yeah, so 2. All right, 3 and a 2. So not great still.
Wow. So yeah, this is looking really iffy because somebody's there looking at this. Halo.
Oh, hang on. I can use my force thing, can I?
Well, it does cost you stress.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Well, spend intel to reduce your stress by 1, back down to 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then increase it again to use the force power.
All right.
These are the papers you were expecting to see.
Yep.
Third time of asking.
Am I rolling anything, or is that it?
No. Third time asking. You have to roll the dice.
Oh, great.
Maintain your cover.
5.
At last, that's a 5. and I'm sorry that there seemed to be a momentary. I'm sorry. Please go through. Leading Halo and the Stormtrooper through. Kit on the roof. What's your routine?
So let me take a moment to fix everybody in space. So the other characters have all moved inside this dome area.
This cylindrical building, yeah.
And stormtroopers are leading Malabaka into there too. Is that right?
They've already gone in.
They've gone in. Okay. I think that I have been, up in this sort of vantage point for a while now. Maybe I've spotted maybe like an air vent or something on the roof of this thing that I can tear open.
Go for it. Let's have you roll to, I guess, to do something else using military fieldcraft, your physical presence.
And I wonder, there's this bit in the game with the dark side, if you make an argument that maybe I'm being very reckless. Maybe I'm making too much noise, more than I should, because I'm upset about my friend being captured. The rage is coursing through me. I wonder if I can make an argument to take a dark side point and get the bonus die.
I will go with that. Yeah, it will mean that this will not be in any sense a covert entry.
Okay.
Yeah,
fine. We'll do it. So I will not do the stress die. Oh my goodness.
A 1 and a pair of 2s.
Let's see. Doing something else. What's that? You get caught or let me see. I am dangerous. Could I? Oh, I'd have to. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. If that would fit here, I'm dangerous. Would that be?
I'd be prepared to let you mark that, but remember you have to mark stress to mark that little box.
Yeah,
so you need to spend some intel.
I'll spend an intel. So I'll kick that up to a 4 or 5.
Okay. I do get to mark heat, even though you then subsequently change the effect. So capture is full. There is now a shipwide alert. So and then Vann, Halo, Tsenn, you go through reception into this 5-story space with mezzanine floors all the way up, where dozens of scientists are working. And in the center of the structure is, and I think you're right, I think it is the Darth Vader meditation. Yeah. But with lots of connections running away to the walls. And then debris falls from the ceiling and you look up and you see Kit just dropping on a rope into the middle of this. And over there is Malabaka, and they are strapping Malabaka into some structure, while they wheel away a dead Wookiee. And that, I think, is where we'll take our second break. Back in our seats on the hour. See you then. Okay, back from our last commercial break. We have our Wookiee, Kitporin, rappelling from a bit of the roof he's torn open, aiming to drop as close to Malabaka as possible. Malabaka, his mentor and friend, is strapped into a large framework from which a dead Wookiee is being wheeled. Seems to be guarded by some stormtroopers and what looks to be somebody relatively senior in Zsinj's security apparatus. I think I might have a picture of someone I can put in. Yeah, that might work. Let's put that in there. There we go. There we go. Zsinj's security chief is in the NPC. I've already added Moff Krotas because we knew we were going to see him in a moment. Halo, up there on the gantry, protruding out over this complicated bit of machinery, is what looks like main control. If there are going to be a set of plans that are downloadable, that's where they'll be. And Vann, as Halo looks up there, you look up there as well, and there, with hands on the balcony looking down, is Moff Krotas and his bodyguards. Tsenn, that's what you see. What do you do?
I mean, they're not looking at us in our armor or anything. This is just what we...
No, everyone's looking up. It's fair to say everyone has just stopped looking anywhere apart from up. Where a Wookiee
walk
on
towards
a rope.
the thing.
Sorry, what are you doing?
I'm going to walk towards the thing.
This structure, this
yeah.
whatever it is. Yeah. And as you look, you know, the top comes up and you see, again, I think I've got a picture prep for this one. You see a woman in there who I am going to simply label as a sinister presence. That's what Tsenn's doing. He's heading, because again, it's a building, so you know, this is 50 yards away. So you're walking towards that. Halo, what do you do?
So just so I'm clear, is the Moff looking at us, or just he's up there, or they're up there just kind of surveying the...
Surveying. I think visiting dignitary on a tour, about to see the technology demonstrated.
And are they in the control panel place where we want to be?
That's where Moff is. Moff Kratos is up there with what looks like 2 or 3 bodyguards, and he's surveying this, ready for a demonstration by the look of it. What do you do? The reason I'm pointing it out to you is that if there is anywhere to access the plans for this, it's up there.
So I think they'll turn to Vann and say, you know, if I can get access to the control room, I could probably introduce power overload to blow the whole thing.
Yeah. Vann just nods and says, "Sounds good," and just pushes straight past you and heads straight towards the control chamber. He's as he sees Moff Krotas, he's just suddenly turned away, which is, you know, after a moment's look at Kit and just being like, "Thanks for the distraction."
She's a little surprised. She's like, "Oh, that's it." She was probably expecting him to argue with her about that, so she's like, "Oh, cool." And so they're headed up to the control room.
I'm imagining a pair on either side of this kind of protruding area, this balcony, mezzanine, a couple of platforms, lifts, but also some stairs if you want to use this open, you know, gantry stairs if you want to use those. That's what I'm assuming you're doing. Vann will get there first, given what I've just heard. Kit, you're rappelling down 4 floors. What's the objective? What do we see you doing?
So there's dozens of scientists. There's a couple squads of stormtroopers. There's a sinister presence coming out of the meditation dome thing.
Being revealed by the meditation dome, not coming out.
Okay. And then on the mezzanine or the upper, there's the security person with their staff, and then also the Moff with their bodyguards. So I think my goal is to keep as much attention on me as possible. So I'm going to drop down, start shooting, and I'm trying to create chaos to try to like get the scientists to, you know, start screaming and running around and just creating so much chaos that, you know, the stormtroopers can't get at me or anyone else. That's my goal.
Okay, that sounds like roll to do something else. to be honest. Won't do any harm particular, but let's see if you can create some chaos. I think that I'm going to allow the expertise to count if you want it.
And
Because
I wonder if
you're
again,
a mad Wookiee. You're not pretending.
My crazy
much.
recklessness and just craziness would warrant another dark side point to get that bonus die here again.
I'm prepared for you to go with that.
All right. So I am out of control. One away from whatever happens when you get the maximum dark side. I will not do stress because I'm way stressed out also. And a bunch of fives.
Set of fives. Chaos erupts. Stormtroopers' attention and begin to shoot at the Wookiee as the Wookiee makes the descent. Scientists take cover. The bodyguards on the control up there in central control kind of huddle around the Moth. Tsenn, I will tell you for nothing that presence in that chamber looks haggard and has a variety of leads and cables running from them to the machinery. What do you do?
I'm just trying to get closer at this point without drawing attention. So I'm just moving.
Well, there's chaos everywhere. So no one's looking at you at the minute. So you can get there if you want to get there. What do you want to do when you get there?
I'm just going to lob a grenade in it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Vann, stairs or lift?
I'm imagining, stormtroopers coming down the stairs, like towards where Kit's rappelled down to.
Yeah.
And you just see like one white body just like moving through the rest of them, like just pushing. And whereas one of them just shoves the other one, he's not paying, and he's just like the Terminator walking up the stairs.
Yeah.
Where are you going? Where did we?
Get back to your house. Just push him away from it.
Then I'm going to let you get there in a minute. Halo, you're following Vann's wake? Because again, you're still in uniform, so
no, she's going to just go up one of those lifts.
Fine. So Vann making his way up a set of stairs, Halo in a lift, and it looks like Moff Crotus has been kind of taken away from the balcony edge, where he was perhaps more at risk. And Kit, I think now I need you to just roll to do something else to continue with your chaos, but this time I need you to roll 3 risk die, because there's a lot of incoming fire focused on you right now.
I wonder if before I do this, we see me grab some stormtroopers and just rip them apart, trying to get some relief from the horror.
I'm prepared to go with that.
Behave badly.
Yeah.
Verbally
prepared
or physically
to go with
abuse someone. Okay, so just roll a single die.
Reduced stress by 1 and a single dice.
All right.
Seems like a fitting time for a scientist to be flung from something with a Wilhelm scream, right? Like,
yeah. I think it's even more brutal than that. I think I'm really, the classic ripping arms off of people thing.
Oh yeah.
So here we go. A big old 1.
A 1. I think how do we know that you recognize suddenly how much of a grip the dark side has on you?
I think we see a shot of Malabaka's face looking very disappointed.
I think that's lovely.
As I'm ripping people apart as I approach her.
And she is doing those Wookiee noises that across the bottom. You are better than this, Kitporin.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, reduce stress by 1, and but some of that gets through to you, and your expertise is unavailable until stress goes back up.
Great. And then you wanted me to do something else.
I did with 3 risk die, because all the fire in the room is coming your way.
Deadly apply here?
Yeah, I'll let you have deadly.
All right.
To kind of keep the heads down.
And since my stress is down to 4, I'll use the stress die. Okay. 6 is the high. 5 is the highest for mine, but I did roll a 6, so I take some damage.
So you're going to take there's a risk to you. I guess the best way to keep someone's head down is to blow someone else's off. And that's what
Roll a
those
single
five
die,
represent. You know, we're seeing people being taken down physically or with your bowcaster, but the 6 means you are at risk here. So,
Roll a
but
single die.
I think that this is +3, so it's not going to kill you. It's just whether you get a 6 or not. A natural 6. You don't.
I got a 5. Okay.
So you were lucky this time. It hurts, but you'll live. So incoming fire. Maybe that just shakes you, that and Malabaka shakes you out of that kind of berserk rage. I don't know. We'll find out in a moment. Tsenn, you just lob a grenade at the figure in this.
No, I'm going for the pod. I'm not. Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay, fine. So throw a grenade at the pod. Let's see what happens. Roll to do something else, I think, because you're not looking to do some harm here, just wanting to do some harm to the machinery.
So it's just 1 dice?
This is just, no, sorry, so grey dice. I'm not seeing any particular expertise at play for this.
Yeah. No.
Stress dice, of course, is always there, just waiting to be picked up.
I've only got 1 pointless, so.
Well, do you want to spend some intel to reduce that stress immediately?
I'm not sure what that would look like.
Well, no, it's just spend intel to keep a focus on the job.
Okay, so yeah, I'll do that. And then I'll use the stress dice, because what the hell. Hang on, that didn't go. Sorry, I didn't do the green one. So 4 for the regular and 6 for the stress.
Oh, so stress goes up by 1. Congratulations.
That's all right.
But you get to mark intel. So what's bad about that? Because what you notice is the woman in this structure turns and faces you. And you hear a voice that says, "Free me."
Okay.
We come back to you in a moment.
You get an extra benefit too, right?
You do. And the extra benefit I'm going to play with here, unless you want something else, is that that piece of machinery goes offline. Yeah, you do enough damage that it's offline. It's not just off for a minute. It's off until someone does some work on it. Or you got a better one in mind?
Nope, that's good.
Halo. Chaos all around you. You're going up in the lift. You see Vann fighting his way through the stream of stormtroopers to get up there as well. What do we see when you get to the top, Halo?
Yeah, I think she is just taking the approach of, like, in the midst of all of this happening, she just no stealthing, just walks in, and she's going to walk in and go sit down at like, I'm assuming there's like stations or terminals in there. Like she's like, and just like she's like, nothing's just nothing happening, right? Like kind of the plain sight thing, right? So
I'm imagining them. There are some guys in those peculiar kind of shaped helmets with a number of big levers in front of them that can turn this on, turn it off. But yeah, there's a terminal, and what we see trying to log into this.
Yeah, and so I guess she has two things she's interested in doing here. She wants to first get the plans. She wants to download the plans, and then she wants to, like, do the classic, introduce some sort of like power surge thing to blow it up, because she's still keen on blowing it up, but she sees an opportunity to make a little make some credits by maybe selling the plans or something like that. So that's kind of,
just so I'm clear, what's the priority and what's the benefit? The priority is blowing it up, and the benefit is a copy of the plans.
Yes.
Right. So if you can do that in 1, fine and dandy with a 6. Otherwise, there's more action to go. I'm not going to come to you yet because I think it's going to take a little bit of time for you to get that done. So Kit, incoming fire, Malabaka screaming at you. What do you do?
I'm picturing this chair that she's attached to is near the meditation chamber. Is that
it's
accurate?
Not. To be honest, it's to one side.
Okay.
I want to keep these two things separate in the fiction.
Okay. So I think I'm gonna fight my way to Malabaka and try to release her from her binds. That's my goal.
Okay. As you're approaching her and there's incoming fire, so you're ducking and diving, and then someone kicks you in the back of the knee, an attempt to bring you down. So would you roll to confront them? I don't think Deadly's at play because I'm giving them surprise here.
Okay.
So your expertise isn't available.
Can't use it anyway.
No, so it's the grey dice, the stress dice if you want it, and 2 risk die.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, I'll use the stress. 2 risk die. Deadly's not in play. Also, expertise is not in play. Is that right? Okay.
That's right.
So just the 2 dice for me.
Sorry, I mean, Deadly might have been in play, but you are completely surprised by this.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Oh, that doesn't look good for you.
3, and the danger dies a 5.
5. So this time you're going to roll a d6, but this time, hang on, where are they gone? You are going to roll this flat, just a d6.
5.
5, 4 plus. You're lucky this time it hurts, but you'll live. We see you go down on one knee. The blaze of berserk fury. You really weren't looking behind you, just focused on Malabaka. And somebody kicks out your leg out from under you. You go down in a heap. Vann, up the stairs, and you can see the 3 Moff Crotas kind of bodyguards hustling him towards an emergency exit. What do you do?
I follow them to the emergency exit. As they punch the door open, I do pull out that blaster carbine and I gun them all down, all of his escort down.
Fine. Let's see how this goes then. These are I'm going to play my remaining complication to make these where's it go? Oh, I can never find it. Incoming, giving existing antagonists heavy weapons, blah 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 blah. They're his personal bodyguards, so they're not stormtroopers. They are named contractors in the.
Yeah, they're
like the best of the Raptors.
Yeah. They've got like bits of flair and stuff, like they work at TGI Fridays. They've got badges and like scars and stuff like that visible. But I have the drop on them, and I've got a blaster carbine.
You do. So
sir. Just one stop. Yeah.
So no risk die at play for you at the moment. So you're rolling with expertise, stress die if you want it. Let's see how it goes.
Is a 6.
Oh, look at that. 6 on the stress dice. So stress goes up by 1. Mark intel. But that will do, the amount of two amounts of stress. Do you spread that between a pair of them, or is it focused on one?
Well, it's an auto weapon, right? So I can. What I'm hoping to do is, the best attempt is to gun all of them down at once, right? I don't know how valuable it is in the mechanics.
You won't get that because each of them has 3 stress.
Okay, well, I think then that is a flurry of blasts straight through the closest one, right? Like,
fine, I'll take 1 out. Yeah. It goes down in a pile. The others are now aware of your risk, the risk you present.
Is that my extra benefit then?
I think it is to take him out rather than just apply stress. Tsenn, voice in your head, free me. I tell you what, while you're thinking about it, I'm going to cut back to Kit. Kit, you turning, or are you going to try and move on?
Yeah, I'll turn to see who is that attacked me.
There's no sign of anyone. Just
so I'm gonna. How about if I declare anticipated that? So maybe I throw down like a smoke grenade and put on some goggles that allow me, so the smoke, I can see them moving in the smoke. And
I think the difficulty you've got is this is Sith concealment. This isn't technology.
Okay.
And and out the corner of your eye, we know there's no sign of that head of Zsinj technology. Turn around and flail at the air, or do what?
I think I say over my comms, there's a Sith here. I need someone to find a way to, so I can see this person so I can rip them apart.
I mean, the way this would work mechanically is they're canceling your expertise in a fight.
Okay.
So
and then I'll flail around as I wait for one of our Force users maybe to do something to help me with this. But I'll flail now. Yeah. I don't have my expertise anyway, so
well, yeah. So, but it's mechanic, but that's the way this makes it more difficult for you to do some harm. So flailing about can work.
Okay.
But do you flail about?
No expertise. So I'm yelling for help over the comms. And do I get deadly?
No.
No deadly?
No,
all right.
Just gray and green if you want it, and 2 risk die.
2 risk die. All right, here we go. Well, I got a 5 on the stress, so it goes up, and I do take 6s on the danger die.
Okay, so the 5 works. You inflict some stress on this, and you connect, and there's going to oof. You hear the oof. But that 6 means that there's a risk to you.
And it's a flat roll, right?
It is. Well, no, it's -1 now because I've activated
so
their Sithness.
All right, I end up with a 1.
A 1? Oh my God! On a 1, this is very bad. Tell control if it's mortal. You feel your stress track and crack. It's bloody. You'll die after 1 more action without medical treatment. Or it's painful. You cannot use your expertise until you get medical treatment.
I think it's painful.
Okay. So that one's ticked off. Let's see how this runs on.
Okay.
Halo. Let's have you roll to see how you're doing at the console.
All right. So is intrusion in play?
It is.
And stress die.
If you want it.
Of course. Yes, and I love Blake's comment that the little progress bar slowly moving across the screen. It's the future, but it's still like installing Windows in the 80s. So,
and every time we cut back to it, it doesn't seem to have moved very far on, and yet, it will.
It's gone backwards. All right, so 6 6s, but also on the stress die.
So 6 on the stress die, up it goes, but get a point of intel, and you have both a copy. And we now have a different bar, which is the green one was moving on. That is now slowing down, and a red bar has begun to move up, marked overload. So this entire building is going to go up at some point.
Can I shoot her in the head?
The person in the
Yep.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just put her out of the misery. All right, so that would be just grey and orange.
Grey, not orange, because she is also going to use Sith concealment.
Great. 4.
4. So that is success. You inflict some harm on her, but it's really kind of narrative harm rather than shooting her in the head.
Sorry.
Vann, one of them goes down. The other 2 now turn towards you. They are active and likely to involve risk die. What are you doing? Krotas is kind of cowering behind them.
Yeah, it's the first load is like bang bang bang. One of them shoves Krotas into a bulkhead sort of sticking out from the wall, right? And he's cowering down there. They kneel down like the one they're quick, right? Because they're raptors, so they're crack shots. So the one of them who's like on close detail is like kneeling down and returning fire at Vann, while the other one is like done a combat roll across the corridor to like a little bit of cover, and Vann's just gonna fire off another shot, like backing, diving himself across the floor, kind of thing. Okay. So it is another flurry of fire shots from the blaster carbine.
Now, remember, when you face a contractor level opponent, they cancel your expertise if they have the same one. So they are like ordinary characters. So you're rolling without expertise. The stress dice is available to you, and there are 2 of them. So you've got 2 risk die in play.
Okay. I will use the stress die.
Okay. 4 on the stress die. That
Yeah.
applies
Which
some
doesn't-
harm to one of them.
Yes, so my stress die doesn't go up.
No,
4, but I also rolled a 6 on
you
one of the
did.
consequences one. So
Intel
think
goes up. Roll for stress.
but does Intel go up on the threat dice?
Intel goes up. You know,
I
time
don't
to
think it
check
does
the
on the risk. I
rules.
don't think it does on the risk die.
Oh, sorry, I've seen. No, sorry, I'm looking at the 6 on the expertise die, which you didn't roll. I beg
I
your
didn't
pardon.
roll, yeah,
So,
no worries.
6 on the risk die means that you are at risk. So
Yeah,
it's a
yeah.
flat die.
Yeah. That's a 6.
Intel goes up by 1.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, harmful consequences, 4+. Lucky this time, it
Yeah.
hurts, but you'll live. On a natural 6, mark Intel, but also roll for stress because you realize suddenly you can see Halo kind of gesturing.
Yeah.
The clock is ticking.
And then I hear Crotas's sneering voice again.
So roll for stress.
Yeah, the stress of the clock is ticking versus I need to kill this guy.
Exactly. But you've got oodles of intel, I note.
Yeah, I do. But stress doesn't go up because, this is the focus of my revenge. I am focused on.
Fine.
But maybe I hear that cry of pain from Kit as they're injured as well. I think that's the major thing that's bothering Vann.
Fine. So Kit, you're kind of. Are you focused on this opponent you can't see, or on Malabaka?
I think at this point, I imagine Halo has said something over the comms, the clock is ticking. So my goal is to, I've hit this person. I have a vague idea where they are. So I'm going to drop a stun grenade in that direction, try to grab Malabaka. And
that's danger close.
Sure.
This is hand-to-hand combat.
Okay. Well, you tell me if I have to keep fighting. My goal is to get out of here, to get Malabaka and get out of here. So
fine. Then it seems to me that it's, it sounds to me like the job is to get to Malabaka and put up with any difficulty with this, whatever it is taking you on.
I'll grab her, I'll shield her,
Fine.
And
so we see you kind of tearing the kind of restraints off Malabaka. Fine. You don't need to roll for that.
Okay.
Tsenn, what do you do when someone punches you in the side of the head? I mean, apart from roll the dice, but you'll do that in a moment. But I'm curious what your reaction is.
Can I kind of just roll with it and start getting the hell out of Dodge?
Let's roll the dice.
Just the orange one, or
yeah, hand to hand is at play, but there's one risk die as well. How bad a punch in the head was this? So I've seen the 1.
So, yeah, and the 5 for the risk die. So
okay, and I didn't see the grey one move.
Oh, okay. So, yeah. 3.
Ooh,
so
wow.
yeah, the risk die are the highest.
So you need to roll a d6 and hope for a big number.
I'm thinking I'll get smacked off the gantry down in front of that force user that came out of the thing.
We'll see. We'll see.
Come on. 2.
2. Painful, lose expertise, bloody, medical kit, or do you immediately die? I mean, that's a pretty awful outcome, but the option is yours.
Yeah, painful, so lose expertise.
Fine.
So.
And as you kind of shake your head, and the figure that was guarding Malabaka, that head of Zsinj's security, is running towards the pod with the Sith in it.
Right.
Vann's in a firefight. Halo, you can see the clock is ticking. What's the plan?
Yeah, so now I think I'll introduce our exfiltration plan that should. So there's like a private or secret hangar that is attached to this section of the project, and she found that the Moff's private shuttle is there, And so she's yelling at for everybody to and I think we probably all knew that, right? I mean, it's stuff. And so she's um yelling at everybody to head to the to get moving. And then and I think she's going to see if she's going to start heading for the door, but she wants to see if Vann comes or not.
Well, I think that I love all of that. The door that the security were hustling them off to is the door that takes the kind of private elevator down to the hangar below this structure. And Vann, there's currently a firefight going on across that door.
So I think then she'll join into that. I'm assuming she's got a blaster as part of the
I don't have a problem with that. So I'm seeing you behind a console firing now at them. They don't know that you're part of this fight yet, so you don't need to roll any risk die, but you can roll the gray dice, the orange dice, and the green one if you want it.
Yeah. Every die.
A 6.
6 on the stress die.
Stress goes up by 1, but the one that Vann had already hit last time, you take them out because you shoot at them from the side. They weren't expecting it. You go down in a heap. No harm to you apart from the stress. Yeah. Kit, you've freed Malabaka. You know the exfiltration route is, through that door over there. There's one of these doors up on the control level, and there's another one of these accesses to this elevator on the ground level where you are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Yep. Also, you can go through this wall right here. So I'm going to shoot out the wall with my bowcaster, and then Malabak and I will crash through. I mean, she's a Wookiee. She's a badass. And she's not debilitated. So the two of us are just Wookiee power.
Love it. Tsenn, you see Kit and the other Wookiee, just going through barriers and internal walls, heading towards the exit. Is that the route you take? Or are you staying? Oh, you are muted. Yeah, you are still muted.
God damn it. Okay, I can't imagine I got smacked off the gantry, so I'm in front of the one with the cables. But wasn't there another one running towards me?
No, the person who knocked you over has gone to the pod with the Sith in it.
Right. Well, in that case, yes, I'll haul ass out of here.
Okay. So Vann, Halo has taken down another of the bodyguards. There is one remaining. What do you do?
I just come around and stand up as they're firing, and I just walk through the blaster fire, like just Terminator style firing away with my gun, None of this exchanging cover, just completely like, I trust in my ability. My desire to kill you is greater than your desire to kill me.
Trust in the Force, man. Trust in the Force.
Yeah. So I don't get my expertise, but I do roll with stress and the 5 and the.
I'm gonna put 2 risk die in play because you aren't making any effort beyond believing in the Force.
Well, I mean, if I'm not making it, if that's how that works, does that mean that I'll deal extra damage when it happens?
Yeah.
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 That's a 6.
A 6. It takes 3 to take each of these down. I'm going to give you the extra damage on top of the 2 that a 6 would give you. You take that one down as he fires wildly at you, but clearly the Force was with you.
And I just like hit him, and then it's just like and he goes down, and then I just I'm now stood over Moff Krotas, right?
I want to keep that one. I want to keep that moment for a little moment.
But that was the sort of like the gist of the direction, right? Is in that I am just marching towards my target.
As you're approaching, and this guy is trying to hold you off, we see the Moff kind of drifting further back, away from the door. Halo.
Can I have a panicked run?
Well, I just want to freeze the moment there.
Yeah. Panicking them.
Because I just need to make sure where everybody else is, so I can have that as a moment for you. So Halo, you know, Vann has walked across the control, taken out the other guy. The Moff has backed away. The access to the door is open. Do you take it?
So the Moth isn't in the private elevator.
No,
he's kind of
no. He's been driven further away from it.
Yeah. So I think she'll be like, let's get the hell out of here, and she'll head for the elevator. And as she's doing that, she's going to do the classic Star Wars where she's going to blast all the like control panels, right? Like, so nobody can, undo what she's done, and everything. And yeah, so she's headed to get to the elevator, kind of just assuming, because I'm assuming she doesn't know the personal beef here that he has. So she's just like, come on, let's go, and is headed into the elevator.
Shouting, Vann, you need to get out now. Kit, you and Malabaka have kind of just plowed through towards the lower access to this, with Tsenn in your wake, I think.
Yeah, I was going to escape pod.
I mean, there's no escape pod here. The exfiltration route is that door and the shuttle beneath it.
Yep.
Yeah. Because we established that, I think, when we kicked off.
Yep.
But over your shoulder, we see the woman in white, the head of security for Zsinj, disconnecting the Sith and helping her out. Vann, what do we see in your moment?
Well, I'm off. Crotas scamper, it's like skitters away from the shuttle pad. No, get back, kind of thing. And Vann just
draws a puny shaking blaster.
Yeah, Vann reaches, tears off the bucket, right, flings it to the side, and I think what I would like to do is slam him up against the wall, and I'm going to try and like. I think the way I'd like to flavor it is like, like Kylo Ren, like dragging things out of someone's brain, like forcefully, like kind of thing. He's going to say, "You took them from me. You took everybody from me. You took everything. You said if we followed the rules, then we'd be safe. But you lied. I'm going to find them." So I'm going to rip through his brain, basically.
Fine, and I think that's worth a couple of dark side points.
Yeah, well, I'm definitely I could put an extra dark side point on that one for sure. But that's perception, I think,
it is.
Yeah. Investigate, actually, I think, really.
Roll to investigate. Yep. Mark stress to use the force.
Yep. I'm just going to burn a point of intel because I have to negate that. It's very satisfying to finally get what you want, right?
It is.
Cathartic.
Gray, orange, and green. Do your thing. Oh, a 6. Not even on the stress die. Intel goes up by 1. And you know exactly where the survivors of your people are.
Yeah. My extra benefit is that I know more than that. Like there are bits and pieces.
There's other things in there.
Yeah. And I think I keep like, where are they? And I slam him up against it, right? And he drops the blaster, and I slam him again, and you see Vann's like nose start to bleed, and
his eyes roll up in his head. He begins to jidder.
Yeah, well, Vann's eyes start to like go that slightly yellowy sort of Sith thing, right? And he just slams him up again, and he doesn't. Crotas just starts to like froth and drop, and that's what I'm going to do with that. I'm happy for that to be.
Oh well, I have an epilogue for Vann, is as he rushes towards the exit.
Oh, I wasn't going to rush towards the exit.
Oh, I see where you're going.
Yeah. So as I think, then I drop Crotas to the floor, right? As he crumples up, and and I reach into like the Stormtrooper like supply gear, and I pull out the
Obsidian blade?
no,
The
not the
burn?
obsidian blade, the thermal detonator area explode that I have. I take the thermal detonator and I place it on Crotas's
On his chest.
on his chest, and then I stride out.
Right. Well, as you approach the door, we are going to have a shot of you heading for the door, and then a voice in your head says, "You have displayed such power, my friend. You have overcome not one of my apprentices, but two. Now I can help you find them." And down on the floor next to that is the hooded figure, the sinister presence from inside the pod, with her shoulder over Zsinj's head of security. Join me. And while you're thinking about that, we cut back to the elevator where Halo has emerged into the hangar and is already in the pilot seat of the shuttle, while Kit and Malabaka and Tsenn are, crossing this hangar towards it. And Halo's going, Halo, how long are you going to wait for Vann? Because again, we'll cut back to that red bar, which is getting close to the same length as the green bar now. Or maybe they go up in Star Wars, I think, don't they? They go up. Anyway.
I think she's gonna wait this is trite, but as long as she knows she can before they won't be able to get out of there.
Vann?
We don't have to answer. We could just have a shot of the shuttle going away, and that's it.
We could. I'm prepared to.
I think what Vann, as they say that, I think he just spits as he looks at Crotas and he says, "I'll never believe your lies again. I'll find them on my own." And I think all of my dicking around, though, does mean that perhaps I am pursued as I am coming up the shuttle path. I would like to roll a flee for your life to get to.
No, because this is Halo's exfiltration. The flee for your life is going to be on the shuttle.
Oh well, I mean, okay. I just was thinking you could injure me if I didn't do it or something.
No. I want this to be a kind of shuttle dropping out the bottom of this ship and streaking away. So Halo, the question is, how many TIE fighters? Roll to flee for your life with the rest of the group aboard. Right. You are on 5 stress, just so you know. You could burn an intel to get one back.
Yeah, she'll burn an intel to get one back.
Let's see how the exfiltration goes.
And then piloting, I'm assuming.
Yep. Stress dice if you want it.
Yeah. It's all or nothing. 5. On a 5, you get away clean unless Control chooses to spend heat to maintain the pursuits and forces you to flee for your life again. Do you know, I think I might, because I'm on capture. TIE fighters streak out of hangar bays along one side in pursuit of the shuttle. What do we see you doing, Halo? Describe the flying to me. Yeah, I do like the idea of them waiting just till the last minute. So as the shuttle's flying out, there's an explosion, bursting out. And then as they go away, then those TIE fighters kind of come flying in. I think she's trying to rapidly make a jump to hyperspace before the TIE fighters take them out. So
let's see if this flee for your life gets you away clean this time.
Okay. Sorry. Come on, computer. There we go.
Pew pew pew. Goes the TIE fighters. 6. on the stress dice. Stress goes up by 1 and go to hyperspace. And the TIE fighters were converging and they just, you're gone. And that, I think, is roll credits. A quick roses and thorns or stars.
Yeah, I would just like to quickly go back to our operational goals.
Indeed.
I don't think that we achieved our operational goal here, because I think that what we did was we destroyed Project Wraith's technology, but by not dealing with the Sith individual, the scope is open for Project Wraith to be reactivated. So I think this is one of those occasions where we did not achieve
I think you're right. I think you're right, because you've caused a lot of damage, and I think we'll see a little, in this city-sized ship, there's this little kind of explosion just above the tech deck, but it's I think you may have damaged the prototype, but I think the Sith, as long as that Sith is still in play, there's a chance this is still live for another time. But yeah, quick roses and thorns. Let me start. Joe, any roses, any thorns?
No, I thought this was a great finale. I mean, it was touch and go, but yet we got away, which is not always what you want to do in this game, I think, but it felt right, I think,
Felt very Star Wars.
Yeah, everybody flexed into their stuff. I love the revenge, and everything, and I like the idea of an epilogue where we see her sitting in a like an office with a New Republic, person handing over the things and getting a big wad of credits and stuff too.
Lovely. Blake, any roses, any thorns? And do you want to do the same thing and just insert a brief, and this is Tsenn afterwards?
Yeah, but roses, it was good fun. I could sort of envision each of the characters. The characters work well together. Thorns, this bit felt like it would have been the end of the season. Like the stakes were really high compared to some of the other stuff. Maybe we should have done 3 to 4 more sessions before we did this really deep shit one. But and that's kind of the same thing. It would have been nice to do. It would be nice to do with these characters. It would be nice to do like a series of 12 rather than just 4 sort of thing, because it was good fun. It was cool.
Yeah, I mean, what was quite nice actually, that less for you, but for 2 of the others, was that because those characters have been in a previous one, there is that sense of some continuity. So there is a continuity out there now against the Sith Conspiracy. So next Star Wars Day, watch this space.
Yeah. As for what epilogue for Tsenn, I don't know. Maybe he knocks on Vann's door and says, I think I can do some stuff. Maybe you can help me.
Yeah, that sounds good. I think what we see then is Vann just like looking bleary-eyed and like all empty bottles of Star Warsy type thing. You feel like he's been doing the conspiracy board type, red strings and pins and all over everything as he's been dumping it, and he just spits at you. In this galaxy, you have to help yourself.
Okay.
Mark another dark side point.
Yeah.
Jason, any roses, any thorns?
I appreciate, Alan, that my character was so messed up you didn't make me roll the dice for the last half hour or so.
I know. You were in dire straits.
That was probably a good idea. I would have liked one more roll maybe, just to kind of put all the cards on the table, but that's okay. No big deal. I think we see an extended cutscene of Kit, getting therapy, mental and physical, after this harrowing adventure, maybe on some garden planet, maybe like what's Natalie Portman's planet?
Naboo.
Yeah. Let's see. Roses. I don't know if this is a rose or a thorn or anything, but I thought I had, having played the game a few times now, just to put a bee in your ear, Alan, I'd be curious to play the game where you had sort of a pre-written scenario to see how it would work. I like it a lot, making it up as we go, but I would be curious to see how it would work if you like take a scenario, or at least aspects that you've already kind of come up with in your mind, to see how it would work. I know in the manual you mentioned ideas about how to do so, and I'd be interested in playing that out sometime.
Yeah, I
That's
mean, some of us have done that with chunks of Nice Black Agent stuff, and it works okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just don't know enough Star Wars to write one.
No, that's fine.
Will, any roses, any thorns?
I thought we really benefited from a bit of a planning discussion, like in between, and like keeping it all together and framing it and making like sense of the scene and stuff like that. I do really appreciate, like, I love like going through mechanics, quite a lot, but I do also like, what does that actually like look like in the fiction, and sometimes I think, particularly with this game, it's easy to laser focus on, a bit like Forged in the Dark and other sort of procedural steps, like it's easy to laser focus on like, what does the mechanic say versus what does that look like, what is the framing there. I thought everyone did a really good job of keeping that together this session. I loved Wookiee power rattling in. I loved the rage. I did enjoy like Kit turning more towards like the rage and the dark side and stuff. I think that like retroactively we can say that is like due to Malabeka's like capture or anything like that. It felt like a bit of a hard shift, but like it's one of those things where as we play, we fill in the fiction retrospectively almost, which I thought worked really well.
And as we tend to do, I just wanted to push the mechanics, just
no, I know.
Where the dark side would go.
What you were doing, Jason. I was like, you've seen the mechanic you want to mess around with, and you're going, yeah. But one of the things I love about like playing on the open hearth and stuff is the fact that we can have that conversation and be like, space in the prisoners is what you want to do for the mechanic, right? But like say that like, I don't think the fiction supports it at this point, kind of thing. But yeah, I loved that Halo did the mission. I loved the freedom to actually pursue Moff Krotas, like a personal thing. I think that the ambiguity is, I wanted to introduce that element, but where do you want to have it in the sort of like the running the game kind of structure, because if you'd said like he's on a different part of the ship, I'd be like, well, Vann's off that way.
Yeah, and I have to say deliberately after last time where it went like that, I wanted to try and stay with the group this time.
Although last session we were all in the group, we just completely we were doing very different things in the same space basically. But yeah, I thought it was great. I love that we didn't succeed in the mission as well. Like I do enjoy that, the loose threads, the dangling things. I would like to see that revisited in future, against the Sith kind of thing.
Project Wraith. Who is that woman in
the exactly. And why were they saying help me? Whose side are they on? The ambiguity of all of that is, I think, part of what I think would make Against the Sith Conspiracy interesting versus Against the Empire. Like you are against the conspiratorial force. It is all this cloak and dagger bullshit, like shadow plays and puppet plays and all of that kind of stuff. Who's a patsy for who? My only thorn is you get it in a lot of systems. Fictionally, like 3 bad guys is a reasonable amount. It's the ninja problem, right? 3 bad guys is a reasonable amount for a hero to deal with. Mechanically, it can sometimes turn into a bit of a time-consuming slog just simply by the fact that it involves more roles to do so. I don't know how to balance that either, basically, but it's just a thing. And the untrained talent, I have to say that I didn't find it very satisfying having to go through the list of moves to use it, because I also and it's a thing me and Rich both share with like introducing the Force into games, is that like it's nice to have it. I tried quite hard to not use it all the time.
I mean, the untrained talent is there. I'm not sure it's worth the candle.
I think it's fine to have that as this character has 2 different aspects of the Force, rather than you have all of them, but you have to move through the moves, because you're essentially giving up an extra expertise to have like the other one, and it has all that cost and stuff, and then you're the Force character. You know what I mean?
Personally, I'd rather dump it.
Yeah,
I think the survivor of Order 66 is it's there for us, because I think this is the 3rd May the 4th that this has had a rollout, and I think it's an historical thing.
Yeah, I think one force talent is enough.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
it is kind of cool to be able to do 2, but like having all of them and then having to work all your way through them is like, I kept thinking I need to cross off like 5 more, which means I have to use the force.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. Anyway, that's me. Sorry, I talked too long on that one.
No, stars from me. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the fact this was very focused. I enjoyed we had an explosion at the end. We had a flying away escape. We had an ambiguous Sith. We had someone using force talents against you. And we had a bit of backstory revenge. What more do you want? So with that, I'm going to end the recording. So here we go.